I was reading some comments earlier. I'm in the 8120 baling, and yeah, I just wanted to answer one in particular. I actually got a couple of questions I'd like to answer, but one in particular is, why don't I use the 4960 to run the Krone baler and and not the 80? Why do I even bother with the 8120? Because the 4960 has more horsepower, right? Well, the 4960 was a great tractor in its time. It really was. I mean, it wasn't. Well, let's put it this way. I'm probably going to stomp on some John Deere guys' pride. The 4960 was a tractor John Deere should have never built. If you really want my honest opinion. The 4960 should have stopped at the 4955, and in those last 2 years, it should have been just done. Hey, you're hitting the damn microphone, bonehead.
What?
You're hitting the microphone. You're keying up. So anyway.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
Hang the microphone up. You're pushing the button with your thigh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gotta love it. Anyway, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. The 4960 and the 4955 should have never been built. John Deere was late getting into the spacious cab, next generation, or I don't know, fourth generation of tractors. They really were. In the early 90s, when they came out with the 7000 series, I think the 6 and 7000, like the 7800, the 7600, 68, 6700, 6600. Those tractors were great tractors for that frame size. But when it came to the 8000 series, which is what really replaced the 4960, and in Europe the 4955, because they never had 4960s in Europe. They never had any of the 60 series, and it was explained through one of the John Deere catalogs that the 60 series never made it to Europe, even though they made the updates. They were the updated 55 series. Because they didn't want to confuse the European farmer, which I found to be total bullshit, because how do you confuse a farmer? I mean, they see the series change, and they see the difference, and most of the difference between the 55 series and the 60 series in the United States was a cab corner exhaust, which actually made the tractor louder inside, and some of the creature comforts within. No groundbreaking results, It just was, well, we have a swiveling seat now, and we've got a digital clock and a digital readout over the previous models. Analog was no longer standard, and digital was the update, So those two series tractors should have ended at the 50 series. The Soundguard bodies were great back in 1974. They were great in 1984, but by the mid to late 80s, Case International, they surpassed John Deere with the interiors of their cabs and the type of tractor that they were building. And John Deere lost a lot of the market share. So when they came out with the Alt series, the 81, 82, 8300 models, and then later, the next year, or later in that first year of production, they came out with the 8400. Those were leaps and bounds ahead of anything that John Deere had before, and what Case IH was putting out as well. And John Deere actually did come back into the dominant spot in the United States with their 8000 series tractor. Now this is an 8120. So this 8120 was the 8000 series, or the Alt series, the 01 series. This is an 02. This is third generation past the 4960, which really was no different than a 4850. They just weren't much different. The cab size, the entry, the everything. It just was no different. So why do I not run a 4960 on a Krone baler? A, comfort. B, comfort. C, comfort and ride. I could go into D, which is the fact that everything is ergonomically correct. I could probably bring you down here to these controls. When my hand is resting here, like this is, I got to steer too. I can shift here, and I can do this, my hydraulics, and my throttle is there. So the John Deere 4960, which is a great tractor in its own right, they had their issues, but it was all lever control. These are all electro-hydraulic. Now, I had mixed feelings about going to this tractor when I bought this one, because really, the 4960 was one of the first tractors that had controllers, the HCU and all that stuff. I'm not sure if it was I'm pretty sure it was the 55 that started it, but the 55 and the 60 were like, they were the introduction to electro-hydraulic controls on the hitch, and even the front wheel assist was also all on that electronic control, and controllers and stuff. Ooh. The seat in it was the same seat that was in the 40 series, really, if you ask me, with a difference in the swivel, and it was, yeah, the swivel, that was about it. There was no more space to it. The cab is pretty much identical to the 30 series, other than it's a brown interior or a tan interior versus the black 30 series, the brown 40 series, and the tan 55 and 60 series. So, yeah, this is tan interior, lighter interior. I really enjoy this tractor. It could be a higher horsepower tractor, but you know what? All in all, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It bales hay fast, it's reliable. I did have that engine issue when I was down in North Carolina, but it's back together, running strong. My 4960 has had a new transmission in it. It's had a new engine in it. It caught on fire. It burned because of the electrical issues that the 60 series had. The head gasket popped on that thing too, and that caused the exhaust gas the hot gas coming out of that last piston, the number 6 piston in that engine, to shoot onto the wiring harness, melting it as well. So there were a lot of problems with the 60 series tractors, and what I did to correct it when I did rebuild that engine was to actually take silicone and put it on the back side of that head, so that I did not have the rusting issue. What would happen is it would corrode the head gasket from the outside. And when you have that corrosion, it's just a matter of time before shit happens. And I stole my wife's, I stole her window. She's probably going to be pissed at me, but that's okay. What's this? Get after it. Keep coming, we'll swap midway, like right here, okay? I stole your window, I know. What? You're not gonna respond? Stinky butt. Anyway. She's shaking her head at me. She probably knows I'm on film. She doesn't want to be a part of it. It's a pain in the ass that way. I'm not gonna let you use me for YouTube. Right? Yeah, that's it. Right. And then she'd say, I don't sound like your ex-wife. I'm like, yeah, I know, you sound worse. No, I would never say that. Oh, I did. Anyways, I'm talking to myself. Anyhow, that's just my thoughts on the 4960 and why I won't use it. Why it's just, to me, me, ain't worth a shit bailing. When it was new, yeah. When I was using it to bail with, yeah, it was alright. It was miles ahead of the 5020 that I was bailing with years earlier. But yeah, so that's just the long and the short of it. Yeah.
I think I got a loose pine. I'm hearing this crunch again.
Did you hit something?
Yeah, that stump over there that I didn't see.
What stump?
Not a stump, it's like the dirt on the top over there where you can see it over there.
What, down there?
No, not there. Over here on the right side. Well, there's some hay that's laying still. That's what I hit.
What did I tell you about that?
I lift my head, it's too late.
Well, you got more than that. You busted something. You're gonna have to stop, get out, and pull up. So get to the end of that road, stop the machine, get out and look. Busting crap up shit.